Thank you guys for taking the time to be here with me today to discuss Title IX. Let's just dive into our first question here. College athletics is really only a small portion of our lives, yet it can be incredibly impactful. How do you use lessons learned from your time as a student athlete to better apply yourself in the workforce and in life?
I think being a student athlete is incredibly beneficial in a lot of ways. I think there's a lot of things that you can learn as far as work ethic, self-accountability. Teamwork is a big thing that you can bring into the workforce, just understanding how to work hard, things like that. I think I had a really great experience as a student athlete, and that's a big reason why I want to continue coaching, is kind of bring that experience to other students that come through our program, and a big reason why I've stayed at Milwaukee, which is my alma mater as well. I also think that leaders in the workplace are starting to realize the benefits of hiring student athletes too. And, we get information and calls all the time about wanting to hire our student athletes. And I think there's just so much that can be learned. And I've brought a lot of those things into my job and my life as well.
For sure. Yeah, it's very grateful that we all get the opportunity to even be here. I'm glad that we're in this time period and not earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, in your eyes, how have women's sports changed since you were a student athlete at Milwaukee, and to what extent has there been progress towards equity?
Well, I was a student athlete here about 20 years ago, which to you is a lifetime ago. But for me, it's not that long ago, and I think I was fortunate enough to have a lot of the opportunities that our student athletes have today when I was a student athlete. And I think a big reason is because people before me, women, Title IX, kind of paved the way for me to have those opportunities. And I think, one of the biggest differences now is just there's just more talk about it, more media. So there's more attention put on it. People can see stories, can see women in sports, it's just more available. So I think the exposure is just so much different now. And that to me is one of the biggest differences from when I was a student athlete.
All right. And the viewership and attendance of the women's Final Four and championship match grew exponentially compared to last year and the previous years. What do you think are the reasons for that? And do you think this is a turning point for women's athletics?
Well, I think the growth, it's been growing and growing and growing for years in college volleyball, but it's really growing in the grassroots level, at the middle school level and the high school level. Clubs have grown. There's so much participation with girls volleyball. And but what really has, I think, exposed the most is visual, like on TV, ESPN, plus all of those. There's so many avenues to show volleyball on the bigger level. So like Big Ten Network starting, ACC, Longhorn Network. I mean, there's so many networks actually on TV, but then we have this avenue of ESPN to broadcast our games, and that helps a ton. And then, what our sport does too is they really do a lot of, when they pick where the Final Four is going to be, they really look at the attendance, what the support is in that community. Omaha has a big support, and, Columbus, Ohio. And there's just and it's just amazing, really, because we go every year and we're part of it. And it's pretty impressive how it's grown and how physical the game is. It's very exciting to watch. It's just the defense and the offense and all that. And that's kind of, to me, what's grown so much of the sport in volleyball. It's because there is a huge participation at the younger level. The athleticism has really grown, and it's just so exciting to watch. And so we, in my experience, having been a coach, it's just the physicality of the game and the defense and the speed of which somebody hits or serves. It's really gotten great.
Yeah, because people have seen it now, they can see that athleticism, and then more and more people, I think, want to watch more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember like when I was younger, my mom played college basketball, and like we'd go on the TV and like, yeah, I mean, if you wanted to watch women's college basketball when I was like 8, like you really,
Right.
there's no place to find it. Like maybe some like really specific streaming service that you had to pay extra for. But I think that's like a really important part is like them continue to like give us screen time, like just show it to people who can watch it, and then people, because otherwise they just won't even have the opportunity to. And it's probably
Right.
important for other young girls who are growing up in athletics to like have someone on the screen where they can be like, oh yeah, like, I want to do that too.
And that kind of leads me to like with our staff being female staff, both all of us, including Nikki, our other assistant, it has been a student athlete. And I think what I like when we talk to recruits and within our program is we did this. I say that a lot. We did have this experience. Not mine was different than Lindsay's, and Nikki's was different than ours. But it's like we know what it felt like, and I have seen the amazing growth. I mean, but I'm so proud of it. Like, I'm not jealous of it that I didn't have that. I just think, how cool is this that you can play sports? How cool is it that we can coach a sport for a living? That's kind of became my ultimate goal, was probably senior year in college, where I was like, I could do this, because I really didn't know what else I wanted to do, and I knew I was a competitive person. Where's the best place you can be a competitive person, especially as a female? Probably collegiate athletics, So that's kind of a neat what I like about our staff, having all the females having kind of been in their shoes prior.
And I had several female coaches growing up, including in college, and so that gave me, role models to look at and say, oh, okay, I can do that for my career if that's what I want to do.
For sure. And what do you guys think is next? What does the future of women's sports look like in your mind?
I think with the exposure, again, going back to that, we now are seeing this pro leagues, and a lot of pro leagues for volleyball has always been Europe and maybe the other countries, and we're seeing some pro leagues pop up where sensible pro leagues where and so now young people can see there's another level. There's always the national team, who won a gold this past year, first ever gold medal in the Olympics. So that was definitely on TV, and young people could watch that. So I think there's just like the growth is just going to keep going. I mean, it is for all sports, for female sports. I think the exposure of social media and being on TV is just going to, you really. I was thinking about this recently. It's so cool that young girls can just assume they're going to play sports. Like that they have the ability to play. There's no barriers. There's no, and this Title IX did protect that years ago, and now it's just a given. We're going to play, and we're going to be competitive, athletic, and so that's using your competitiveness in life, using your self-confidence you've gained as a student athlete into your career, into your job, into parenting, into whatever you're going to do next in your life.
Well, and to add on to that, I think there's been so many more women in the last several years that have been involved with athletics, and now they're starting to have families and have daughters of their own. So, like, I can speak from my experience. Like, I want my daughter to be involved with sports because I've seen what it can do for me and all the great friendships and all the great experiences and opportunities I had because of that. And so I want that for, my kids, but my daughter as well. And I think there's just more women that have had those opportunities now that will kind of go down to their children that they have too, and just continue to create those opportunities for more and more females.
For sure. All right. Thank you guys for having this conversation with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.